sun. I am the rays of the sun. I am the beam of the moon and the stars. I am the beam of the moon and the stars. I am the power of trees growing. I am the power of trees growing. I am the size of the mighty oak tree. I am the size of the mighty oak tree. I am the movement of the salmon swimming. I am the movement of the salmon swimming. Let every voice but God's be still in me. Let every voice but God's be still in me. Let me remember what my purpose is. Let me remember what my purpose is. Let all things be exactly as they are. Let all things be exactly as they are. This is the time of stillness and peace. This is the time of stillness and peace. Eternal holiness abides in me. Eternal holiness abides in me.
Good evening, everyone. When I say everyone, is there more than one? Okay, look. Oh my goodness, we've got a crowd. That's cool. Do you realize that you are among the most refined, dedicated humans on the planet? Hooray for you. You really are seeking the truth because you've probably reached that place in your experience where you recognize that something is really amiss in the world. And it seems that everyone is chasing some type of dream, and in the process failing to gain the majesty, the joy, and the love that we were born to experience. You know, there's no end to the number of love songs. You know this. I mean, on the radio, there's nothing but love songs. I mean, you know, you have folk love songs and rock and roll love songs and show tune love songs, and love song after love song is being sung. And I suspect we enjoy listening to them, but deep down we sense that they're not really about true love, that they're really not aware enough. The writers of those songs, the singers, the people that produce them are not aware of true love. And we sense that. We sense that most of that is all about romance, fleeting romance. And we see it all around us. We see how it is almost impossible for people to sustain a marriage and, you know, to have something more than just this momentary togetherness in romance in which it breaks apart because there is no surrender of the illusionary self, which is required for anyone who is going to enter that mystical state that the masters speak about as divine love. And actually, we can't truly live without it. It is the very inspiration that drives us to seek that harmony and that beauty of life that we have momentarily moments. We have little moments, sometimes at a sunrise or sometimes when all things are going well. We have a moment that we let go of all the thinking that's required for us to continue to try to figure out how to make life better, how to succeed more. And I'll tell you why we do that is because we have been badly conditioned since our infancy. I mean, since we were in the crib and we were, you know, we were either hungry or cold or lonely, and we would cry, and then for most people, mommy or daddy would show up. Maybe the babysitter or the nanny would show up and cuddle us and rock us or feed us. And from there, we went into early childhood where we were overdosed with praise in this society. Many of us, not all of us, but I'm saying many, many people overdosed with praise. You know, overdosed with appreciation and attention and prestige and all of that, which led us to believe in that somehow or other that was the way to love. We began to define that as love. But really it was closer to, you know, praise or attention or something that was not really love because we never came to know it. But we had a large overdose of this. You can see this today in certain situations, you know. When you watch, you know, Little League soccer or football or baseball or hockey. It has become something different. You know, the whole idea of winning has become so necessary. Winning is everything. And it leads a lot of young people to, limited ideas about their opponents. It is true, as children grow up, they need some self-esteem. Sports are a good way to get that. But along with that, we need to also continue to add good sportsmanship. We have to, if we don't learn how to lose, honestly and openly, we will never learn how to live. One of the major problems with the world today is the inability for, and I'm speaking about adults now, the inability for adults to cope. They can't cope with losing. So they will do anything they can. They will become deceitful, they'll become liars. They'll do whatever they can to try to rearrange the facts of life because they can't cope. They were never taught that good sportsmanship, friendly. We're all in, we play the game, we play hard, we play to win. Yeah, it's beautiful. But we know in the playing that we're all brothers and sisters on the field. And we're worthy of, after the game, shaking hands is the way we do it, but seriously, inwardly, being okay with having lost a game here and there and not maybe winning the trophies. But you see, we've arrived at this place where we determine success and prestige falsely with the path to love. And it is written that, and this is by the master Anthony DeMello, our super adrenaline charged society never allows a moment just to be okay. Just to be okay living life, enjoying our work and play and people and the everyday pleasures of mind and body, without the striving after the world and its insane definition of success. This, we assumed, was the way to get love. I'm reminded of the actress Sally Field, who, when she won the Academy Award, went up to receive the award and then said to everyone, millions and millions of people watching, "You like me, you really like me." I mean, she had been a successful actress for years and years and years. She was the flying nun for 3 years. Didn't gain anything spiritual from that. I don't want to put her down. But the fact that she got up and said, "You like me, you really like me," talks about a desperation within that really shouldn't be there. So here we are, though, in our world, watching it come apart at the seams because some people are not capable of coping with a loss, with the facts of a loss. And now they're conspiring to lie and cheat and steal and intimidate in order to try to somehow or other justify their inability to be okay with the fact that this wasn't your game. This wasn't your time. You didn't win this one. Okay, there's tomorrow. Play hard, see how it happens, how it goes. Forgetting, losing touch with the most important element in life, which is that we are all truly brothers and sisters of the same Creator. And unless we find that element, that truth, within ourselves, we will never know what true love is. I mean, this is what it's all about here at Unity. Whether we know it or not, we are seeking true life, which then opens the door to true love. Without the awareness of our interconnectedness with everything that lives, we will always be feeling a certain amount of alienation and separation. And having not learned how to be okay with life when it's not really going according to our personal desires and our dictates and our demands and our plans and our dreams, we have to learn to be okay with that, because it is okay with that. We have to know that some people who have, done everything in their power, they have worked so hard. I mean, you have to think in terms of this recent gal, this gymnast, Bales, what her name is. Amazing, amazing athlete. I mean, I don't know how many years of her life she put into perfecting her abilities as a gymnast. But then it all came crashing in on her at the Olympics. And she said things like, "I feel like the whole pressure of the world is on my shoulders." Where in fact it shouldn't be. Because somewhere during all of her training and everything, she had to learn how to be okay with not having it on a particular day. And be okay with it. I know she's not supposed to feel absolutely elated that it's not going her way, but she needs to be balanced in the awareness that's life. You win some, you lose some. There's an up, there's a down. And finding that place where you realize your interconnectedness with everything that is alleviates that illusionary ego-centered idea of the necessity to win and be right because of other people's opinions. Allowing them and what it is they design for us to determine how we are going to live our lives. And if we're winning, then we feel, oh, we're praised, we're okay. But if we lose, we feel, oh my God, I don't know how to handle this. Some people get to the place they want to die because they've been disapproved. They didn't make it. It wasn't right. They weren't the best on that day. So what is life really all about? If you really are seeking the truth that you want, that you believe will make you free, you have to handle a very hard reality. You have to know that the only time you will enter the meaning of true love is when you are alone and when you are capable of being alone. And that is the journey of the mastery that we seek. It is not that we leave the world. We're still in the world, but we're no longer of the world. Do you see the difference there? When the Master calls his disciples to be in the world but not of the world, what he is saying is, we have to somehow or other extricate our minds from the thinking of the world, especially in this Western society. We have to be able to extricate ourselves from the conditioning that we have borne while growing up and living our lives, to this false notion of what love is, the false notion of what success is, the false notion of what peace is. And now we're arriving at that place where we have the false notion of what truth is. And so we can't expect to try to bring everybody out there who's living in crazy land. We can't expect that they're going to come along all of a sudden. But we can move ourselves into this hard yoga in which we no longer are driven, tossed to and fro because of our expectations to please all of those people in that society, which can only be defined as insane. We have to extricate ourselves through spiritual practice, through meditation. Let me share with you what the Master Anthony de Mello has to say from his book, The Way of Love. The consequence of ego-centered addiction is terrifying and inescapable. You have become incapable of loving anyone or anything. If you wish to love, you must learn to see again. And if you wish to see, you must give up your addiction. You must tear away from your being the roots of society that have penetrated to the marrow. You must drop out. Externally, everything will go on as before. You will continue to be in the world, but no longer of it. And in your heart, you will now be free at last and utterly alone. It is only in this aloneness, this utter solitude, that dependence and desire will die, and the capacity to love will be born. For one no longer sees others as means to satisfy one's addiction. It's pretty clear. And it's a hard, hard calling. And let me share with you the way the Master of Life related it in the Gospel of Thomas. You'll recall that in that particular gospel, he not only said what he said in the Gospel of Luke, that the kingdom of heaven is within you, in the midst of you. In the Gospel of Thomas, it is written, the kingdom of heaven, of God, is all around you, in the midst of you, but you don't see it. Because we have been taught not to see. We have been taught to seek approval, acceptance, praise, success according to the world. And so we are simply marching to the drum of other people's demands. And we have to break free of that in our minds if we're ever going to enter into that enlightened state of divine awareness and love. But here's the Master speaking, an incredibly interesting little parable. This is 107 in the Gospel of Thomas. Jesus said, "The kingdom is like a shepherd who had 100 sheep. One of them went astray, which was the largest. The shepherd left behind the 99. He sought for the one until he found it. Having tired himself out, he said to the sheep, 'I love thee more than the 99. What an interesting parable this is, because sheep do not leave the flock. They don't. You know, they have this little story about the young boy in school when the teacher says, if there's 5 sheep in the pen and one jumps out, Johnny, how many sheep are left? Johnny says, none. The teacher said, but Johnny, if one sheep jumps out of the pen and there were 5, how many are left? Johnny says, none. Because if one sheep jumps out of that pen, I can tell you right now, all of the others are jumping after him. You see, sheep flock together. They have a flock mentality. For one sheep to leave the flock and go astray is a symbolic idea of leaving the herd mentality of society. And this is the Christ divine. This is God's awareness saying, if that one sheep removes himself, herself, from the thinking of society that has caught them in this trap of seeking approval and personal acceptance and all of that that goes with it, if one is able to remove himself, herself, I will find that one and I will say of that one, I love you more than all the rest. Because you have come into the enlightened truth in which you have transcended the limited thinking of the world. You have transcended the limited definition of the outer-directed, illusion-driven, conflict-oriented world. It is no longer enough to go along as the sheep would go along with the conditions and circumstances of the world, especially the way it is today. There is nothing but insane conflict taking place and an attempt to gain control over the sheep. And so all you see on these news programs is fostering these limited ideas. And they're going to make those ideas stick no matter what they have to do. There's nothing wrong with scientists seeking to come up with vaccines to heal a pandemic disease like COVID virus, except the fact that the virus itself was created by people that have gone insane. So they have a laboratory where they make, bioweapons. Can you imagine human beings making bioweapons? How far away from the light of life have those minds drifted to agree to be part of that, to use their intelligence to come up with weapons that will kill and destroy other human beings? How far from the light of life have they drifted? Well, I'm saying to you, we can't draw them in. We have the crazy people right now. They're going to be doing crazy stuff, and it's going to get crazier. But you don't have to buy into it. Now's your chance to do your spiritual practice and enter into the consciousness that is defined as being in the world. You still operate. You still have a job. You still have relationships. You still go to parties. But you are no longer of the world. You are now living in a state of grace, of peace, that is beyond the understanding of the world, because they don't see how it is you can have a peace that isn't determined by circumstances meeting your personal desires. People can't see that because they know that they only have peace when they're being praised and being accepted and appreciated and receiving that prestige and the success as the world defines it. We now must withdraw from the thinking of this insane world and its insane definition of success. You want to know what success is? To be anywhere you find yourself and be able to understand it is holy, and to look upon it as an opportunity to bless, to praise, and to feel the joy and the love that comes with knowing the presence of God regardless of circumstances. When we gain that presence of God, it comes through a mind that has sundered its addiction to personal praise and personal success and all of the stuff that goes with that growing up insanity. Let me reiterate, it is necessary for children to be praised to some degree, appreciated, in order for them to gain self-esteem. But they must also, along the way, be educated in the awareness that they are one with everything they meet in life. And it is sacred to know that everyone sharing this world, even the crazy people who will ultimately destroy themselves in the process, but until they do, or maybe some will come around, but ultimately to know they are also part of God. And so you don't allow their insanity to infect you. But you instead sustain your place of grace in which you find no fault, you harbor no envy, you consider no rejection. You simply bless. Harbor no envy, no resentment. Just feel that love that is unconditional. Go there in your spiritual practice. It is the way to true life. Okay, we'll practice the presence of this divine joy and love, listening to our Tibetan bowls calibrated to move the chakras of the mind, body. And it begins with something that sounds so simple, and yet, can you, for these few minutes, be okay without having to have more, or be concerned, or worried? Just be okay, because you are always okay in the Creator's awareness. You are always loved. So when you're listening to the bowls, just be okay. It's beautiful. I'm sitting here doing nothing, but so what? When that ego says you're wasting time, you could be writing letters, you could be making phone calls, you could be on your cell phone. You simply say, no, but I'd rather be, just for this little period of time, okay with sitting here. And then when we get to that period of silence, if you don't have a particular meditation technique, use this one. By the way, this one that I'm sharing with you right now may be the only original thing I've ever said. Everything I've ever said, Deepak Chopra said before me, so did Wayne Dyer and all those other guys that wrote tons of books. I hate to have to stand on their shoulders, but the only thing that I've ever said that's original is this meditation thing. This is mine. God is love. Love is life. I am God's life. I am. I am. I am. God is love. Love is life. I am God's life. I am. Breathe in the I, breathe out the M. I am. I am. from this place in refined acceptance, unconditional acceptance and peace, let us offer the names of the people that have been submitted to our prayer list. As Norma calls the name, just let the thought go forth. Be whole. Be whole.
Steve Taylor. Megan Day Jarman. Tricia Vieth. Craig Simpson and Loy. Cindy Brown. Susan Paulson and family. Susan Grenier. Sandy Spahn. Panine. Denise. Melinda Violet. Wouter Verhagen and family. Jackie Hawkins Kramer. Neil Crystal. Matt Hawkins. Emily Hawkins. Ribera family. Jeannie Russell. Sandy Chamberlain. Kate Beltrami. Chrissy Mays. Orit Hartlight. Alea Love. Larry Morrison. John Stovall. Scott Immig. Sadie the dog. Sylvia Rainwater. Laura. Ted. Susan. Marjorie. Zach. Deb. Andrea. Jason. Allison. Jody. Jady. Zane. Judd Dish. Sunshine. Dan James. Dell. The United States government. The air, water, earth. All life on planet Earth. You can call out a name at this time if you would like to do so. You see this light surrounding the prayer box and all the people whose names have been submitted throughout the month. We see them healed, physically, mentally, and spiritually.
Let us take a moment to visualize the transforming power of divine insight and peace. We see this divine insight and peace rising in the awareness of everyone sharing this Boulder community with us. And it's spreading to everyone sharing the state of Colorado with us. Divine insight and peace spreading to everyone sharing these United States of America with us. And moving to inspire and enlighten everyone on every the pristine majesty of divine presence moving throughout the hearts and minds of everyone sharing this planet Earth. As we pray, the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. And God is love. To this we say, Amen. We will take an offering for unity now. And those of you that like to make a physical offering, we will have someone going down the aisle with the offering sacks, the bags. And for those of you that are watching this on live stream, you can bring to mind that offering that you'd like to make to Unity of Boulder. And when they're set, we'll have a prayer together as we bring this offering into our hands and into our minds. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, because I give. And so it is.
The greatest thing in all my life is loving you. The greatest thing in all my life is loving you. I want to love you more. I want to love you more. The greatest thing in all my life is loving you.
Join me now, please. We dedicate this tithe to the will and the work of the Spirit of truth, the Spirit available to each of us, the Spirit that joins all of us. We dedicate this tithe to the victory of the Spirit of truth. Amen. So I want to thank you all for showing up and all of you tuning in. We will have our usual Sunday services. This particular talk is going to go on. There's more to be said and some more insights to be shared about how we go about entering this state above the thinking of the world. That's going to take place at the 9 a.m. service on Sunday. And following that, at the 11 a.m., we have Santisha sharing her service. So we look forward to seeing all of you there. Have a good night.